Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Cog. This is Meek. Hello, Amartya. Hello.
Yo,
Welcome to
yo,
the stage. Yo, yo. Hello,
uh,
all. Hi.
hi.
Okay. Right now, सो जा वरना हंसता रह जाएगा.
Yup.
Oh. Okay.
Uh,
What
yeah.
happens actually? I wonder what happens if they themselves say it. Do they fall asleep whenever they say it?
Who says it?
What
Who
the
says it
people
and then we fall
who
asleep?
are bit by Hastar
Ah,
or the Hastars in the end?
yeah.
Spoilers.
I don't think, yeah, I think they fall asleep. I think it's basically a trauma response, kind of, right? That's what it
Right.
is because
Okay.
Soja
Okay.
Hasta Rajayega is kind of like a extreme trauma response. It's like a defensive mechanism after a point.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like me. It's like me showing my mark sheet to my mom or my.
Kind of, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
No, no, 60 mostly. 100%. That is what they are asking for. What we get is
True.
C grade to the B grade that they are expecting. Um, hello all. Welcome to the stream. This is Hemant, and I'm for the first time ever doing doing the bit that usually Dhruv, the more mature person, does. So
Mature and somewhat more articulate and much more,
yes,
used to this
like
sort of stuff.
yeah,
We are
he's
like,
like bigger than life. We are like just
uh,
we are the NPCs
he's
of
the
his life.
mass hero. He's the
Yeah,
mass hero.
he's mass
He's
hero.
Telugu
Yes,
mass.
he's
He's
Taleva.
Telugu mass.
Telugu mass. Oh wow, I thought he was more Vijay. Like he's
No.
Talapati, right?
Sir, Thalapati something else only. He's Telugu
He's
mass.
Dharampati. Oh man, more organized of the lot is what Chris says. I can do this. Oh, this is so
Yes,
much
you can
power,
do
dude.
this.
There's too much power in my hands. Oh
Yes,
wow,
yes.
George Harrison. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna do this to symbolize George Harrison in Dark Horse.
Uh,
Yeah,
Separate the fingers a bit more and you will have,
he
the
was Spock.
Vulcan greeting. Yep.
Yeah, you put a little bit like this. That's we are back to Tumbbad.
Yes.
For every
If anybody doesn't know already by now, this stream is going to go off the rails really
yeah,
quick.
very fast. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about Dune, Amartya. Let's talk about let's talk about Dune, Children of Dune. I have a lot of bone to pick with that book.
I don't
Okay.
think stream क्या मैं खुद survive नहीं कर पाऊंगा उस book का discussion. That book is
Oh man. ये सर ये रेल्स पे कभी था भी नहीं. Oh, that's true, Chris Patrick.
सर
I
हम इंडियन रेलवेज नहीं है ना तो थोड़ा बेटर है इंडियन रेलवेज से सर क्या कह रहे
Okay,
हो आप
Arv Ind
या
has said my senior in college and the internet community sung all the praises in the world for this film and not convinced, but not convinced since not a big fan of horror. Hope the stream changes that. Okay, well, I would say a good entry point into horror for Indian horror especially is Tumbad, and I would say an
Yeah,
older book to that. Yeah,
modern horror which is actually takes itself seriously and is somewhat well made. Yeah, Tumbar
for
is a very
sure.
good example.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Tumbat is a great intro to folk horror as well.
yes.
I would also put Makdi by Vishal Bharadwaj in that ilk.
Yep.
With which I mean, he delves a lot into the Himachal region where they have horror stories of
Yes.
Spider Woman, basically. Not Madame Web. Sorry, this is not what we're talking about. Shabana
That
Azmi
is a
is not.
different sort of horror. That
Yeah,
movie is a
that's a
different
different
sort
sort
of
of
horror.
horror. That's
Yeah.
more morality horror.
That
Why are
is
we spending money?
incompetence horror. That
Yeah,
is
that is
incompetence horror.
incompetence horror. Yeah, why are we
Yep.
using great actors for terrible roles? And
Yep.
I think more than anything, but still have slight skepticism since Dhruv has not joined. Well, sorry, Arvind, we will try to get you on Ray. We'll try to
We
excite
will
it,
try to
energize.
placate you. We will try to reassure you by
Yeah,
our,
yes,
competence, which we are
yes.
not. We are very
Yeah.
incompetent, the two of you.
Our competence is mostly in writing, not speaking. It is.
Not speaking. Yes.
Yeah, Madame Web is true existential horror, to be honest. Yes, of course, because why are we
It's
spending
every
money on this?
horror.
Yeah,
It's every horror imaginable. It's capitalist horror.
yeah.
It's every horror.
It's like, are people actually working in emergency ambulances and stuff like this? Do they actually thump the chest so much? I don't want to die. I don't want to be in an accident if someone's going to say,
Wasn't there a scene in, I think, The Thing or in some movie, right? He was thumping the chest and his hands literally go inside the chest because the chest has boss or something. There
yes,
was a
that's
horror
right.
movie, yes. I think
Yes,
that was in Thing.
that was thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
great scene.
John Carpenter's thing. I think we can really talk about body horror a lot because of Tumbbad. More
Yes.
than horror, I feel this movie
You
is.
saw Substance.
Yes, and I
You
don't
saw
want to
the
spoil for
Substance.
anyone anything because it's a very spoilerific movie. I
Yes.
would I would highly recommend everyone who has access to it, please go watch it legally. Watch in the theater because it is an experience on its own. I would also a great double feature. I didn't do the double feature, but I would suggest people the double feature would be a different man and the substance together because
Oh,
both
that's
of them
good.
will yeah, they'll
A
mess you
Different
up a
Man is
little bit
good.
in your sleep. Yeah.
A Different Man is good.
Oh
That's
yes.
horror.
Yeah. Not horror as such, but like a psychological thriller, I would say. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Okay.
it's yeah. I would say I would compare it to The Double. Have you seen that movie, Jesse Eisenberg's?
Jesse Eisenberg? Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
would
it.
compare it a little bit to that movie. Yeah.
Uh,
And how scary is Substance, Debolina Basu? I think it's not really scary as such. It's more there's a little bit of shock value to it and a disgust value to it. So I would definitely not eat popcorn while watching that movie. It's not a popcorn movie. It is more like just keep drinking water and try to like have a less
I mean,
gag reflex,
to be
which is not
fair,
possible.
to be fair to Substance, I think even Revenge is somewhat like disgusting in how it uses body gore
Right.
especially. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's a
actually
great movie by the way.
yes, it's
That's
I
a
mean, so far at least, I have still, I'm insulting that movie a lot because I told Dhruv I was 15 minutes in, then I did another 30 minutes of that movie. I really love the cinematography of that movie, but then again I got distracted by work. So
Hmm.
so I've really insulted that movie and not watched
Sir,
it
you
all.
are an adult. Sir,
I
you
know,
are
I
an
know,
adult. It's okay.
I know.
It's okay.
Well, I used to think that adults actually focus and sit down and give respect to whatever they're doing.
नहीं सर, नहीं सर, चाइल्डहुड में जो कॉन्सेप्ट था एडल्टहुड के बारे में, दैट गेट्स लॉस्ट इन द शफल
I
एंटायरली.
mean,
कुछ कुछ
this
सही
is
नहीं
more
है.
turning into an existential conversation. How do you feel
Yep,
about that,
yep.
Ahmed? How do you feel about
Yes.
growing up? Do you feel like the adults around us are actually knew what they're doing? Huh?
The adults around us have even less idea what they're doing. The world is the prime example of that. But anyway, we are
Oh,
not going there. We are going to talk about Tumbbad, which is
yes.
existential horror of its own. That
Directed by
movie.
two directors, one creative director, which is Anand Gandhi,
Ye-
and the director and screenwriter Rahi Anil Barve.
hmm.
Um,
Also,
it's produced.
Adesh Prasad is the co-director. I think at least Adesh Prasad wants to tell that in interviews that he was the co-director because he's directing the second part of Tumbar. So
Okay.
he's yeah. So he is
This
going
also
to
comes, yeah, hot on the heels of like the big reveal out after. I think this was which
the
movie gave
re-release.
the re-release. Yeah, the
Yeah.
re-release announced that there's going to be a sequel to it, which
Hmm.
I was kind of guessing with me, most horror movies. Once it ends, you kind of feel like, okay, there's going to be a second one. This is almost like an forever story with all horror movies.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
horror movies are, I mean, in conception, horror movies are cheaper to make, right? So it's easier to, because the profit margin is so high for most horror movies. I speak about Friday the 13th. I speak about Exorcist. So it's
yeah,
like if you look into that front,
yeah.
so from
I
that
mean, I
regard,
think
I can understand sequelizing any horror movie. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think like maybe like a nice teaser to our future episode of Hammer Horror. Hammer's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Have you seen that?
No,
I
I
think
haven't.
there's
I've
like
s0 Dracula. I've
oh,
seen
Dracula's
Dracula.
really really good.
Yeah.
Which one? There's so many.
The first one,
The first one,
1958,
oh
I think.
man, Mr. Starring Saruman.
Yes. Saruman. Yes.
Starring the dad of Willy Wonka. What else?
Starring Count Dooku, Star
Count
Wars
Dooku, dude. Yeah, dude.
prequel
Yeah, dude.
trilogy. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of a lot to be learned from horror movies in general. I mean, because this first you got great world building. This movie is set in the early 20th century, It
Yeah.
starts out in 1913, as far 1918, as far as
Yes.
I remember.
1918. It's World War. I think World War One begins immediately after. So
Oh no,
1919
it
is World
already
War
began,
One.
right? 1917. Come on, man. Like Sam Mendes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
1919 is it ends. Like 1 year later, World
1919
War
is
One
ends. Yes.
ends. Yeah,
Yeah.
World War One ends in 1919. So
Yeah.
it's
But India
smack
was
dab in
kind
the
of
middle
like,
of that.
insulated from all that. I think
Yeah,
Britain
yeah,
was
yeah.
more involved in that. So I mean, it kind of gives you context of how India was at that time, and how they talk. I mean,
I think
the
feudalism more is becoming like kind of
yeah.
how it is
I
showing,
think the
right?
transition from feudalism to you know landlordism, I would say. I don't know what the name for that is. Thekadar.
Isn't that entirely feudalism also in some sort of way? Isn't
Um,
that the whole
I think
thing
that was
anyway?
the yeah, that was, I think, in at that time the Mughals were still in rule. I think Varun was gonna correct me in what areas the
He's
Mughals
not here.
were
He's
active.
not here. He's in the land of the colonizers at this point. He's in the
He
actual
is
land of the
yeah, he is,
colonizers.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, he's that's infiltration, right? Like Tom Clancy. He's he's going in there and he's trying to
Yikes.
get the information as much as possible. I mean, honestly, with the state the world is in, I don't think anyone's in charge. Um,
Yeah.
there's one thing I really liked about the world building was that um, where he was talking about, oh, Pune was a big city. It has
Yeah,
carts
yeah.
that don't need horses. Is
No,
what the
no,
kid says.
the biggest thing was that there is legitimate effort in the world building. The fact that world building existed on that scale in an Indian movie itself is massive. Like,
Yes,
uh,
definitely.
full disclosure, when I had seen in 2018, like, I think the description of this video is I was in the cult of Tumbbad during that time already. Kind of not the case, because 2018 was me like 6 years ago, burgeoning cinephile, looking down at Indian movies, so everything. I grudgingly respected this movie for trying something extremely different and extremely new, but I was still like, it's okay, it's not that great. Little did I know कि Indian cinema का क्या हाल हो चुका है at this point, or in the future में क्या हाल होगा, that recontextualization becomes absolutely necessary in
Yeah,
this regard. But
yeah,
even if you take all of that into account, the fact that there is legitimate world building here, there is a history of that world, there
right,
is, I mean, for heaven's sake, there is filmmaking. There is
right. Yeah.
legitimate filmmaking. There is
Right, I
legitimate
mean, the
visual
shot,
talent.
the way the visual language that they have. I mean, like
Yeah,
just the way they're shot. I mean, I would, if Pixel Baba can chime in on how it was shot and what it was shot on.
yeah.
The way they have really shown it is so raw and very documentarian like. There's not a lot of. I mean, you don't have many, like, establishing shots unless it's
No,
just
no,
the
no.
shot of the
It's.
door. There's always this ominous feeling of that setting that they've put together.
I think the production design also plays a massive part, right?
Beautiful
Because
production design, yeah.
yeah,
I
because
mean, I would give like 10 stars to like that, the way they've shown the inside of that manor. um and
yes,
and
yes, 100%. Yeah,
and especially the costume design, and the costume design, the hairstyling or the non hairstyling,
the makeup,
the makeup,
the
yeah. Beautiful makeup. And I think
insane makeup of the grandma, insane
oh
makeup
my
of
God,
that
yeah,
grandma.
the grandma's makeup. I mean, the reveal of how it shows up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think, can we be spoilery in this? Because it's been like 7 years, like
It's
8
been
years.
7 years. At
Yeah.
this point, we can be spoilery. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, if Arvind wants to, like, watch the movie, I would say that there is no spoiler as such in this movie. This is an experience. You really have to like watch this
Yeah,
movie as
yeah.
a film.
The only spoiler could be we are describing how what the monster actually looks like. But even then,
Right.
I think the overall experience of watching the movie, or the overall experience of how the story itself is, for lack of a better word, unfurling, I think that's more important
Uh,
in this case. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Without the skin,
yeah.
unfurling out of
Without
the
the
skin.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
wait, Queen is dead, but ladke log are alive. I have no
Yeah,
idea
both
what
for
that
the
means.
royal family and for us. Yes,
Oh,
both for
okay.
the
Okay.
royal family and for us. Yes,
That's true. Okay. The fact
you
that the
would
skin.
know, Varun. You are in that country. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the what is his name? Cooper. Inspector Cooper. He's getting his promotion. He takes so long for him
Yes.
to get his promotion. I think Varun by now he must have gotten his promotion. Check on him. Uh,
Yeah.
and the fact that the state of Bollywood horror in 2024 is shaitan makes you respect this film like crazy. That's true. Yeah, I think. I mean, this kind of kickstarted another, like revival of horror. The demand for horror, or good horror. I mean, that
Hmm.
happens in most good movies. Anything that comes out that's out of the blue and it actually,
Hmm.
makes you feel something. It
Hmm.
kind of makes you want to see more of it. Like, oh, do it again, do it
Hmm.
again. That's what the audience wants, right? So, I think that's something that.
I'm cu- I'm curious, since Chris is in the chat and you are here also. I don't remember too much about like North India area specific about horror and all that.
Interesting.
Post
Okay.
Tumba, do you remember any of these movies as such beyond say Brahma Yugam or any of that stuff? Say
Mhm.
2019 around. Do you remember any remarkable horror movie like having some of the Tumba influences or anything?
I
Like
actually.
something we have missed or something.
I think someone in the chat can help us out because I'm going to be researching and talking at the same time, which is not going to happen.
Yep.
And I don't think I've come prepared for with all the list. But I think the whole yellow color or color yellow production movies,
Mm-hmm.
they've started out eventually. There's a lot of, I mean, the three universe and everyone, all that kind of happened.
Is Color Yellow responsible? Is Color Yellow led by my favorite filmmaker, favorite on quotes, Anand El Rai? Favorite
Yes,
is in
yes, it
massive
is. Yes,
quotes.
it is. Yes.
Favorite
Favorite
is in
mass.
massive quotes. I don't like that guy.
Why you don't like Zero? Come on, man. Like you
I
don't like
don't.
Lal Kaptan?
I
Actually, you know
despise
what? I actually like
Atrangire.
Lal Kaptan. If I'm not like stealing my look from Lal Kaptan, but I
I don't
actually
like. I expected Lal Kaptan to be much better than it is.
that's
Very
the thing.
really.
I don't actually have any expectations from from Lal Kaptan any movies really, because I mean
Yeah.
honestly, like sad for Saif Ali Khan. He's had a pretty rough run in the past few years.
Hmm.
And there's not a lot of good movies he's had. I guess Ghost
Oh
Stories
yeah,
too. Ghost Stories
Debolina
was
is
a
saying
great,
ghost
great
stories.
movie.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
all of them. My favorite was definitely the one that
One
who's the
of them
LSD guy?
wasn't good, but I think I liked Kashyap's one. I definitely like
Yes,
Dibakar Banerjee's one.
Divakar Banerjee. Yes, Divakar Banerjee's shot was pretty great. Zero Story was
Yeah.
good with Janvi Kapoor. I think Janvi Kapoor was good in that. I think the story was a little bit like off. I felt maybe like they didn't have enough to like go with. I don't think
I hate to sound like an asshole. And as I say that, Varun is going to chime in, he's saying that you
Well, he
sound
did. He
sound
did
like
just
it all the
chime
time.
in with accept Radhe, your most wanted
Yeah,
bhai. Yes,
yeah.
very
I
serious
hate to
conversation
sound
from
like
you.
that, but Janvi Kapoor being good is an abnormality. Just putting it
Okay.
out there.
Yeah, I
Her
mean this.
choice of scripts are great, but her potential as an actress is still left to be discovered. Let's be polite and say that. But okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Bawal was actually pretty good in terms of her performance. She was, I think, the best part of the movie. I mean, Varun Dhawan had a lot of heavy lifting to do in that, but
I think the movie's better problem was that it exists. Bawal, that is.
yeah, okay. I mean, it exists. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it
it came out.
exists.
It
That's
happened.
a horror movie. That's a horror movie on its
I mean,
own.
I actually like the first like maybe 45 minutes of that because it kind of really like nailed that character to the ground of like being just a dick. Like I just didn't
Yeah.
very unlikable character of Varun Dhawan was like even made worse. Oh,
Uh,
Yeah, Ulaj was actually bad too. Yep. Janvi being good is a paranormal activity about is the paranormal activity. I think
good
Varun has
pun.
come out
Good
like
pun.
fully swinging
Yeah.
with
He's
beams here.
swinging. He's taking the baseball bat and swinging hard at every ball that is coming, lobbing towards it at this point. Yep.
Yeah. And I think yeah, Tumba is like overall has been like this kind of anomaly also is that we have
I you-
like an original
I
film.
rec- yeah. I
Yeah.
recently was. I rewatched it. I didn't go to the theater to watch it because I was very sick during that time. So
Okay.
I rewatched it, and what I noticed the screenplay is very clever, right? Because we are led to always anticipate what where is the actual location from where he's getting the gold coins, right? That is
Right. Right.
the placenta which is basically like the earth kind of, which is doubles as the placenta of,
Right, the
of the
rope
goddess
that
of
he
the
goes
earth.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So cleverly, the screenplay pushes it entirely towards the end of the second act. If we break this down into a three-act structure, this is
Right, right,
entirely towards the end of the second act. That
right,
allows for the film to actually explore what happens to India pre-independence and post-independence, as well
right.
as show Indian status quo. And the overall results are pretty damning, right? If you think about it, because it's like, I mean, the casteism is so prevalent in
And
that movie.
I mean, we can also bring in the sexism because of the I mean, because of the state of the marriage by like Vinayak Rao
Yeah,
and
yeah,
his wife.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Strong, independent woman. You will become a strong, independent woman. There is a literal line in that movie.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
You want to, and he keeps comment on the fact that this whole like free India and woman
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
empowerment is a kind of like brainwashing people, and that was the
yeah.
view of the people, or like of the people who would eventually become this. I mean, landowners or landlords eventually. So this
Not
was like
even,
transition
not even
period
that. It's
between.
like, not even that. It's like
Mhm.
there is also a line in this movie. Ki, ye freedom. Why is this freedom struggle still going on?
Right.
We
Mhm.
we are existing. It's fine. The status quo is good. It's
Yeah,
like
and they actually like the British government.
they like the British government. Yeah.
Sadly, it's a man with Ranvijay Singh, man. Like
Yes,
suddenly
of
Bodies
course.
is coming in.
The biggest horror movie of last year, spreading into this year. Sandeep Reddy Vanga's Animal, which by the way won the film IFA award for best film.
Right, and best
Oh
director,
God,
right? Did it?
maybe not.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the movie is actually. I mean, I feel like it the setting really helps the movie because it kind of tells you how less information first people have. Right, people are not really
Yes.
falling for stories anymore. Only in those times you would have people like can be like, have you heard that story where you're like, don't sleep under a tree? Has your grandmother ever told you that, like, oh, don't sleep under a tree, you will ghosts will come to you?
Yeah.
Oh
I've
man,
I've
I
heard a
watched.
version of this. I've heard a version of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and like when you hear stories from that generation, it feels like, oh my god, you guys are living completely different to the world where it was like a lot
Yeah.
scarier than what it is
The
now.
gap, the generation gap. I think it's also the fact that there is a axiom that the world grew smaller. Why did the world grow smaller? Because communication increased, right? Communication increased, civilizations grew. That is why the world grew smaller. And in that regard, because the world grew smaller, myths and mythologies became easier and easier to debunk in that regard.
Right.
So
Yeah.
from that perspective, I think horror also needs to change. Horror needs to reflect on the more modernist take somewhat. That
Right.
doesn't mean that A24 or neon type horror. That is different horror. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying ki more modernist horror, like something like what Kiyoshi Kurosawa tries every time. The
Right.
technology,
Yes.
techno horror or J horror,
Yes.
whatever he's doing.
Yeah. Or I mean, I would even count in like The Cure, or even I would say in terms of like just as a monster movies, like I would say Guillermo del Toro's movies. Like for
Yes,
me, Pan's Labyrinth is more is a horror and a historical movie
it's a
both at
folk
the same
horror.
time.
Yeah, it's folk
Yeah, it is
horror
a
and
folk
also
horror.
historical
I
horror.
kept
Yeah,
thinking about Pan's Labyrinth a lot while watching Tumbbad
yeah.
originally because
I
in like
think it's a
because
massive inspiration. I think it's a massive inspiration.
yeah,
Pan's
could
Labyrinth.
be. I mean, that's like it was a huge inspiration for people who are into making horror more tactile, where
Yes,
it's something that you can feel rather than something that's told to you. Like
yes.
a lot of the characters here actually are affected by what has happened, or the greed that comes from being obsessed with the story. It's almost like an obsession
Yes.
that makes you this like empty person, and that's how the movie is.
It
Like you
hollows
get
you
what
out,
you
right?
want and then
In
you
a
makes you
it,
empty.
it hollows you out, right? That greed
Yeah,
itself is hollowing you out of any sort of humanity.
yeah, so
Rosemary's
like
Baby is more, yeah, that's more, I think, like I recently watched Rosemary's Baby. I watched it for the first time. So it's like that director, I don't like to talk about that director because
is
read
that
up on him if you don't know.
or
Read up on him if you don't know, yeah.
or
Uh,
the
Roman
director of
Polanski.
okay,
Roman
Roman
Polanski.
Polanski. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had recently said. I mean, great things about
Yeah.
that movie. It's just that the director is a whole story on
The
his own.
director is a wholly separate conversation altogether. And
Yeah, I
considering
mean,
that
again,
Rosemary's Baby, considering because it is about Rosemary's Baby, the fact that that director directed it is a miracle in and of itself. I don't
right?
even know how.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, we have to understand. Okay, maybe we'll look at it in a healthy way. Movies are made by a lot of people.
No,
Movies,
no, of course. I'm
right?
also looking at it in a healthy way only. And it's like
Yeah,
there is also the possibility that Rosemary's Baby was a very faithful adaptation. So the book has a lot to contribute to that overall. But there are some directorial flushes. You can't deny that guy knows how to make movies. You
yeah.
can't deny that. Whatever
Right, yeah. I mean,
heinous crimes
if
he
you
has
look at
done.
yeah, if you look at the movie on its own, there is I mean, actually, I even now that you say it, Rosemary's Baby has a lot in common with, or it kind of lays down a lot of groundwork for
I know,
many
right?
movies to come, where you
Yeah.
kind of build this or you put this. It's almost like instead of a Chekhov's gun, it is Chekhov's placenta,
Yep,
uh,
yep. 100%. It's
where
foundational. It's a massively foundational movie. Like people don't realize how foundational that movie actually is. It Yeah. It's
yeah.
like,
I mean, we have
yeah.
to address this since Cinephile Sanket has said, sir, Rebel Moon series discuss
माफ
करो
करो सर, वो
masterpiece.
मास्टरपीस समझने का हमारा,
I
वी डोंट हैव द कैपेसिटी टू
yeah, I mean,
अंडरस्टैंड द
I would
मास्टरपीस.
say there are much more talented people who have a lot more
Yes.
passion about Zack Snyder and his work. And
Yes.
I would say, please, everyone, read the graphic novel of um wait, I
Watchmen.
have to come up. So first, I have to re-remember the name. There's a very I saw a very old novel that I'm very sure Rebel Moon has just like lifted from. But anyway, back
Isn't
to
it
horror.
Dune? Rebel Moon, I think Rebel Moon lifted a lot from Dune.
Yes, kind
100%.
of, and yeah, and a lot from like many other works. But they
It,
wanted to make like a Star Wars kind of his own Star Wars. So I
no, no.
don't know what is.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
that's all I have to say on Rebel
if
Moon.
I'm
Yeah.
not wrong, and if I'm not wrong, and if Dhruv watches this video, he's going to freak out क्योंकि इतना digression हो रहा है. But if
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, Rebel Moon was supposed to be Snyder's Star Wars, but Kathleen Kennedy rejected it, so he basically retrofitted it into his own movie, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. I think yeah, and also Saga, by the way, that's a graphic novel that he stole from. Please,
Oh,
please read
Brian K.
it.
Brian K.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yeah,
great,
great. Yeah,
amazing.
I would highly suggest people read that. Yeah, and Mia
Yeah.
Farrow was in it. They got married to Woody Allen. Another
Woody Allen, another horror. Oh
okay,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
getting yeah more than like
We are
movie
getting
horror
into the
to the
weeds of
reality horror.
separate
We are
horrors. We are
yeah
getting
more
into
like
the weeds of
I don't
different
want to
horrors.
talk anymore about pedophilia, please, or like digress towards it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And thank you, ma'am. And
Watchmen
so
2024 कैसा है? It's fine.
it's great, lovely soundtrack. Wait, Watchmen? You mean like the show or
The
the
new
TV
one, the new one which came
show?
out this year, the animated movie that came out this year. It's
Oh, okay.
fine.
Then
It's
I
a very
I don't
faithful
know really.
adaptation. It's too faithful to a fault at this point. Yeah.
Okay, I
But
think
the
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, this comes back to like the discussion Varun and Ahindrala had were involved in, where I had asked them what is the difference between adaptation and transliteration,
Yes.
and I feel like I go more towards transliteration is that I don't want exactly to everything to be
Exact
adapted
adaptation. Yeah.
as is. I want something new to be said because because there's a lot that can be taken out from the text. Like movies are their own thing, their own piece of like way of communicating any kind of emotion or a story, and we can't get exactly the same thing from what reading. Reading is somewhat a more psychological act, and like even with myths, like if you look at like the myth of like the everyone keeps talking about the myth of Ramayana, which I'm kind of sick of, but is that I love the
Wow.
myth. I grew up from reading Mahabharata and all like about jinns and about Ramayana, and I love myths. I love like this kind of
Hmm.
mythology is great. It's just that the adaptation of
Didn't
it.
you watch Pathala Bhairavi while growing up? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
you
I
did.
did. Oh my God, man! Like that's
Yeah.
a wow. Like, why? Okay. Like, when did you guys ever like? Did you guys were you shown all that in school and stuff?
No, no, Pathala Bhairavi I was never shown. I watched it very recently. It's like an Indianized version of Arabian Nights, at
Yes.
least according to me. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
because they have the 40 thieves and everything also. They
yeah,
have
yeah,
the
fully,
liar's
fully.
den also in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Heyman trying to get into trouble. Man, I have always been in trouble, dude. Like there's like what will they take from me, huh? Like oh, oh I am right now looking like Sandeep Reddy Vanga. So so it's
Yeah.
only gonna get worse.
Jesus.
Is there anything you didn't like? Oh, Gursum Sidhu. Okay, what I didn't like about Tumbbad. I think
Okay,
I
here's the thing. Here's the thing which should, convince most people if they know anything about me. I gave Tumbar a 4.5 out of 5. The only thing I didn't like about Tumbar. Yeah, exactly. See, Dhruv is here and Dhruv is already losing
he's
his
already
shine.
disappointed.
He
He
is
is the
already
dad
losing
from
his shine.
Inception. He's disappointed in us.
Yeah. No, no. The only thing I didn't like about Tumbar, I think, was a tad bit of pacing towards the end. Other than that, I think it was mostly perfect. Mostly, I think you can call it a perfection anyway at this point.
Okay. I think yeah, it is more of like a curse, and that's the curse is the effect of the curse is what they keep talking about, and they
Yeah, yeah.
want the curses are boon or like I don't know. I'm remembering both the subtitles now. Actually, now that I think of it, like
No, no. It's also like how much the curse becomes a boon for them, but the
yes,
curse is affecting the country in and of itself because it's perpetual rain, right? Nothing
yeah,
grows in that area. Everything is cursed because of Hastar and everything else. But they
yeah,
want that. But they want that to exist because that is their only source of wealth. Kind of reminds you of the British and kind of reminds you of upper caste people anyway. They want the system to exist. Otherwise, they won't survive. That's the
yeah.
whole point.
And they want to keep their wealth and they want that status quo to not change after the government has come in. As
Yeah,
the movie goes on, the movie is into three chapters. One is the childhood, where you actually find out about what's going on.
yeah,
You don't know exactly where the treasure is and everything like that, and you find out that the treasure is actually the god himself, and
yes,
he's coming out with he comes out with like the bad the the loincloth and the pouch with gold coins, and
yeah.
it becomes their obsession with trying to come back and get that gold and keep that wealth. And as the movie goes on, you kind of see Vinayak Rao and Soham Shah. I mean, I really love the performance that he gave. I felt like he was always um, true to at least the kid that started out. I felt like if you have a movie where like I mean I always come back to Once Upon a Time in America, where you show a
Yes.
kid going all the way from being a kid to a teenager to an adult to an old man, and then the old man going
Like
back.
if you're going all in, go all in. That's the whole
Yeah,
point. If you're
and but
going all in,
when you
go.
show that story, it's hard to keep the heart of that kid alive. Like you
Yes.
want that kid to stay true even in the adult's story. You want the same kind of mannerisms. You want that spark
It's
that the kid had to be
it's
alive even.
maintaining the character even though you know that he's growing up.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why legacy sequels quote unquote always fail because even though you're pushing something say 30 years later, you don't maintain the essence of the character. That is a
yeah,
bigger problem.
yeah,
It's always hard to
yeah,
imagine a character growing up and maintaining some of the essence of the childhood anyway.
yeah.
That's difficult. That's called writing.
Yeah,
That is
and I mean
writing.
that's something people have forgotten, I guess. Yeah, coming back to like why horror
Yeah,
movies don't work anymore,
coming
where
back to, yeah,
characters. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, we don't really write character arcs. There is not. I mean, you can actually. This is almost a redemption arc for the character because he as a kid abandoned his brother,
Hmm.
and he felt he abandoned his brother. He went back. He actually abandoned his mother's promise
Hmm.
and went back for the gold because he was greedy, and his mother also told him that he was greedy. He went back, got the gold, became rich, and then again abandoned his wife, and had a mistress, and then
Yeah.
eventually once he had a kid also we kind of think that he's also going to abandon his kid. Did you kind of feel that in the end he's going to abandon
Yeah.
his kid?
Yeah, but I think that was the redemption anyway because he came back for his kid also, and towards the end, right? He saved his kid. He managed to save his kid.
Yeah,
But
he did.
again,
Yeah,
but again, it's also like kind of a losing battle anyway, because the kid is already indoctrinated, because once the kid is shown the
Well,
secret, right, he never the kid loses his innocence, because the kid talks with his mother, and the mother asks him ki, what did you see, and the kid tells her that it's between me and dad.
yeah,
That innocence is already lost. He's already indoctrinated within the greed and
yeah.
whatever,
But
all of it.
I think he, I mean, there is that child's innocence that's still there. He gives her the chocolate, the Hershey chocolate
Yep, yep.
coin, and I think a lot of people who watch this movie, at least I know from Sanjeet, he was like going gaga over like the production design, how it was made, and
Yeah, yeah.
how like like the womb was, like how
The
tactile.
CGI, the
The CGI was
CGI.
very impressive, yeah, and they
Yeah,
made
it's
great
impressive.
decisions
Yeah,
for CGI. They knew exactly what they had, because they knew that, like, okay, if they have a character that's going to be made out of one material, which
like
is going to be
we always
yeah,
we criticize, right, we
yeah,
criticize ki itna samay kyun lag raha hai, but at the end of the day, because of time is always necessary. Time is helpful for rendering special effects like CGI. The more time you take, the
yeah,
more improvement it is supposed to occur. It is supposed to happen, the
yeah,
improvement, that is.
right, yeah.
There is a
I mean, it
reason why
also,
James Cameron there is a reason why James Cameron is making so many sequels, but they are taking so much time,
I mean,
because
that is a
yeah,
whole different animal. I mean,
yeah,
that's like a whole pipeline that he created on his own. They have
yeah,
like SIGGRAPH 2024 had a lot of papers on fluid simulations just because of
exactly,
James
yeah,
Cameron. Yeah, like
yeah, exactly,
so
yeah.
I think, okay, so the decision that they made of making it in the dark, or like actually shooting all of it in the dark and having directional lighting and having just one
That is
material.
the most impressive decision they could ever have taken,
Yeah,
because
and
that,
it
yeah,
really helped them out. The only thing that was
that
very
helped.
distracting to me was just the very low res smoke simulation that they did whenever
Yes.
when the Lakshman Rekha came through,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, that is, yeah,
Asta just fell
again,
through. Yeah.
2018,
Yeah, I know
2018, thoda,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm
yeah,
not throwing shade on that. Come on, okay. First off, like 2018, there was a lot of movies that had great smoke simulations. It's just that if you do it right, and you
yeah, yeah,
give it,
but it is 2018, but it has been in the works for over 7 to 10 years, right,
that's
like
also
the
there. Yeah,
movie itself, so it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I again, like, I don't have any problem with the CGI or how it was told in the story. It never took me out of it,
no,
and
no,
I always felt like I was really in the story. I was more with the characters. It was definitely a character based story. I was always very I was taken aback by the way they put the character forth and how they made us not like him. It was a very unlikable character. It was an
yeah, yeah,
anti-hero, really. I thought that at first it was going to be like, oh, he's going to find it, he's going to be told that it's a wrong thing, and then they're going to actually solve the mystery and stuff like that. But none of that happened. It kind of went on, and kind of they stretched out that character's morality, and kind of made
yep.
us test how we can really like this person at all.
Hmm.
And he kind of became worse and worse. In the end, the only thing that he redeemed himself by was
The
saving his son.
redemption is only that he tried to save his son. That is the
Yeah.
only redemption that he has. Otherwise,
So I think I
yeah.
can spend a little bit time on the comments. How did Honor, after being producing production, make such horror movies like Raksha Bandhan? So much rain in Tumbbad. There's
Yeah.
much rain, much wow. There was, yeah. I mean, that's the whole that's the whole like very 2014 joke. But there is yeah, there's a lot of rain, which I mean, I like it. I like rain movies. I'm a huge Seven
No,
fan.
no,
Like,
but I think even the rain was significant, right? Because that kind of showed, right? Because after Hostel was finally destroyed,
yeah,
sunshine, you can see flashes of sunshine finally,
yeah, coming back.
blasting through
Yeah,
the dark clouds, yeah.
yeah.
Because the curse has been lifted from what Tumbar, the place. Curse has been lifted from the place. Okay, to answer Sanket's question, if people don't know, uh, Rahi Anil Barve had an idea for a trilogy starting with Tumbar, but his idea was more of a thematic sequel, right? So Tumbar was about greed. His sequel to Tumbar would have been about Sati and
Mm,
women,
okay.
yeah. And I think third movie would have been about something else. It was a more of a thematic sequel. While
Mm,
the Adesh Prasad and Shoham Shah led sequel, which we know as Tumbar 2, is
mm-hmm.
continuing the narrative which has been established in Tumbar 1.
Okay.
So we are essentially getting two different sequels to Tumbbad, I think, provided Rahi Anil Barve
I mean,
firstly, manages to finish and make, bring out Golconda Tales, and I don't know what's the name of that other show with Raj and DK he's making. But anyway, so
yeah. I mean, I
which
want more movies which are, I mean, if they keep the same kind of like, I mean, Dhruv just mentioned the atmosphere and I mean, and
hmm,
trying to make it depressing with like how
hmm.
horrible the surroundings are.
Automatic atmospherics, Dhruv, the hill station wala thingy, which we have trademarked at this point, like for
Automatic
Queen is dead.
atmospherics. Okay, so
Automatic
if
atmospherics,
you put
yes.
it in if you put it in Himachal, it's got to be like depressing
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
October, like you put it
That's
set
the
it in
laziest.
October or
That's
main in October.
that's now the laziest thing that any movie can ever do. Case in point, Jane Ja, one of
Jai
the worst pieces of movie ever made. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think there is a I think there is something to be said for movies that are set somewhere. When you kind of have a setting, kind of define how your movie's going ahead.
Hmm.
That's something that it's very. I mean, it is hard to do. It really relies on production design, on how you're selling your horror with good makeup and good design and character design. Um, it's very hard to do that if you have something that's made out of CGI. Like the whole,
Yeah.
you think of like if you have a CGI
Again,
villain,
it's the tactility,
it's
right?
hard to make it
It's
tactile. Yeah,
tactility. It's tactility. It's like
yeah, yeah.
practical effects. That is why some people call the 80s as the perfect time for special effects, because CGI was just getting developed and practical
Right.
effects were just getting, improving more and more. So it's like the
Right. Yeah. I mean,
mixture
they
of
were
those
at
two.
their most advanced state in the 80s because
Yeah.
people had already kind of figured out miniatures and a lot of the
Yep.
explosions that you see. If you've ever seen the trial,
Yep.
a lot of the effects are from miniatures, and it
A,
gives you a
a
very
massive example, a massive
practical
example
example.
I can give you, about the mixture of practical effects and CGI is a animated movie called Mad God. If
Oh, okay.
anybody has,
I've
yeah,
heard of it. I've never seen it.
yeah, watch that movie. That movie is bonkers, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous looking, but it's absolute bonkers. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, I always like movies which have a lot of again a lot of atmospherics and it makes it brings. I mean, you bring a lot to the movie in those cases. I mean, it's not something
yeah,
the movie has to really preach to.
convince you all
It's,
the time. It's
yeah,
like, yeah,
I felt great about Tumbbad in one way is that it never tried to preach anything. I never had a scene
no,
of oh greed is bad. Oh you suffered because you were asking too much. This
you
is
mean
now.
to say
I
it's
mean,
not
come
Zoya?
on.
It wasn't Zoya Akhtarized. You mean to say? Yeah, it wasn't.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think as a actor, I was never actually that preachy. I think it's that people like people don't people
Sir
kind of like
current day,
want you to be preachy.
सर current day जोया अख्तर इज वेरी डिफरेंट. देन अगेन नॉर्मल लोगों का थोड़ा आईक्यू भी कम हो चुका है. अब क्या ही कर सकते हैं, उन
I
लोगों को
don't think
प्रीच भी
so.
करना
I don't know why people have so less faith in people. Like I feel like people are smart. People want to see good shit. People want to be, challenged. In the end of the movie, if I feel a little bit, smarter, I feel like, oh wow, nice. I noticed that they did that trick. I noticed. I
Sir,
see
we
what
are
you
the
did. When
exception.
you do that,
Sir,
yeah.
we are the exception. We are not the rule.
No,
I
I
can.
mean, no, honestly, I think everyone in general wants to be a little bit challenged. They want, not mentally challenged, they want to be, they want to be actually challenged
Yikes.
in an emotional way to be, to be bringing your own intelligence into watching a movie. Like I mean, why do people watch so many like procedurals? Like there, everywhere I go is all like just procedure. I mean, everywhere I look, at least, I don't know, maybe it's just a
Sir,
effect of
to
like
all the
just seeing
people who
only
are
some
watching,
things.
the procedures, what's the normal age group for them?
I don't know, I'm not I'm okay. Like maybe I would say like, okay, I'll guess maybe it's like in the 20s or 30s, people who are in like working in IT.
Yes, sir. That is our age.
That's our age.
We
Oh
are the
shit,
exception.
I'm
We
the
are not
IT
the
head.
rule.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
what is the age group of most people? Like right now, like I mean, I am slowly realizing a lot of movies are not being made for me anymore. Uh,
Yeah, 100%.
like, uh,
100%.
but I felt like at least in the generation before us, people who grew up with like classics, what we think of as classics, they were growing, they wanted to have that same sensibility but in a new way. They trying to like maintain that
you
same
update
sensibility.
what you had seen in your childhood. You want the same thing, but you want it to be updated.
Yeah,
That
but
was the
I don't
whole
want
point.
Doom 4. I don't want I don't want like I don't want Race 4. Like I don't want those things anymore. I was kind of disappointed in my
Sir,
childhood
Race
childhood.
4 if
Like,
directed by Abbas Mastana, I 100% want. Huh?
okay,
That
Abbas
is
Mastani,
one.
yeah, I would, yeah, I would
Abbas
give them.
Mastana, I 100%
Yeah,
want. Huh?
like, yeah, 36
Yep.
Chinatown, like great movie.
It is not a great movie, but we are not going to agree
Yeah,
with
I was kidding. Okay. Jokes, jokes aside, I think like a lot of those like sexy thrillers were a big thing when we were
अरे
younger.
not even sexy thrillers. Like, again, bragging thoda. I recently rewatched Michael Clayton, like 2007's Michael Clayton.
Oh yeah, love that movie.
Fantastic movie, but I
Yeah,
also know this, and this is the sad part. If you have to make a movie like Michael Clayton today, you won't make it as a movie. You're going to make a TV series out of
TV
it.
series
Those
out
are
of it.
not
Yeah,
made for those are not made for theatrical releases anymore, and
right.
we are losing something from that.
I mean, I'm losing, and the best part about this movie was 90 minutes. I'm done. 90 minutes,
Yep.
and that's it. I don't want 2 hours. I don't want 3 hours. I like. There is no need for movies to be that long unless you have a story to tell.
Unless
Like,
you have a story to tell, yeah.
yeah,
And
and
you
there
need to
is,
understand, what is brevity and how to make something within a specific amount of time so that people can be
yeah.
palatable.
I mean
People
that
can find
visual
it to be
economy.
palatable.
Like, I mean, the one thing I used to love about watching movies by Vishal Bharadwaj is that he has such great visual economy, and just the way he writes his movies is so economical. Where you just say a few lines and you learn so much about a character.
Yep.
You don't need to say that, oh, he grew up this way, that's why he's this way. Oh, she is being like she was like bitter about this thing because this happened to her. He was greedy because they had no money and everything like that. Like, you don't need to say all that. It's more show, don't tell, more
He
than
was
ever.
here. He was here a couple of minutes ago. You just missed him, I think. Yeah. He
Wait,
was
what?
here.
Who? What?
फिर विशाल भारद्वाज स्लैंडर आ जाएगा यार.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, yeah, that's okay.
I can
Yeah, and
understand your confusion, Hemant. Varun slanders so much at this point. We need to specify very specific. We need to specify,
what he's slandering,
empathize
yeah, because
what
there's
he's
so many
slandering.
things to
Yeah.
slander, really, right? Yeah.
Yes,
And there's
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, when you have a hate buffet, where do you go? Yeah, I think there's a huge like shortage, and there's a huge hunger for movies which are short and which just tell a story, and you're able to like absorb all of that, and it just washes over you, and you can enjoy it and actually think about it later, rather
Yep.
than a movie which turns into like this. I mean, right now, like, just because of things becoming products, like, I think like, I remember Sanjeet's review on like one movie, where he mentioned that things have turned into products, like movies have turned into products, and or like
Is that after Spider-Man? Is that ka Spider-Man No Way Home ka review or something? Because
no.
that sounds exactly like something he would review. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, this is,
Yeah.
come on, we are talking about cinema here, okay?
Yeah. Cinema. By the way, I like that movie. I really do.
I
I'm
do too.
just saying.
Actually, I have no problem
Yeah.
with any,
I
except
have
that
no problem with any of that movie at all.
yeah, I think all of the movies that I've watched so far, which are like big budget, have gone through so many hands, and so it has been like so many committees have
It's a
decided on those
committee.
movies.
It's a full-on
Yeah,
hand committee built by
they have
committee
to be good.
film.
Like, they can't be bad. So I mean, you watch it and you feel, maybe you don't feel something, and that's what's missing, is that like people have become numb to feeling because of being
Which
given
is why,
products and like wanting it.
like the hate boner. I hate to use this term. Which is like
Hate
the
Bono,
hate
man.
boner.
Wow, great one.
The
Yeah.
hate boner for Megalopolis is really bizarre. I'm like, the
Oh,
movie can be bad. Late era Coppola, it 100% has a chance to be bad. But why are you wishing for the movie to not make money or not be successful or people to not watch it? What's the hatred for that? It- it's it's similar to the same hatred that Horizon got before the movie even came out. Like, this is a guy who is spending entirety of his savings to make a passion project.
yeah,
Good, bad, irrelevant.
yeah,
You don't see that anymore.
yeah. I mean, what if that was made by someone who you never knew? Like what if it was made by someone
Nobody
who.
would watch it. That's the bigger point, right? Nobody would
Well,
have
there's the
seen it
cast.
also.
Like you have a great cast, you have a great effects, and you have good sensibility. Visual style that's unique. And you
Yeah,
will automatically, someone is gonna see it. Someone is gonna feel something from it. And
yeah.
I think Megapolis is a fascinating case study of film reception. It's just that, like, you have something that's so huge, something that's been sought after for so long, and it lands, and people are like, okay, because we're so driven by this marketing cycle of, like, oh, the movie's gonna get a teaser trailer, a teaser, a trailer, a launch trailer, a gameplay trailer. I
And
don't know, I am also including games into this.
and
like I,
disappointingly, the discourse is all about money. I'm like, look,
yeah,
I understand art is commercial, but calm the fuck on.
yeah,
Kuch to
I mean,
baat karo about something else besides fucking money, and that too about movies. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, and they have to create, like, for marketing, you have to create. See, I'm sorry, the amount of times I've seen the Adam Driver go
Yes.
back to the club,
That is
like,
one
on Twitter, and just vibe.
bizarre. That is
Yeah, and this is, I
bizarre.
don't. I mean, the thing is that, like, either that's viral, either it's because it's releasing, or people just want to generate interest in watching a movie. And this whole kind of, like, you want to be divisive for the sake of being divisive, his hurting watching movies. Is that okay? Fine, you want to get interest based on hate, like, of people who went to Oppenheimer or Barbie. Like, oh, like, I want to see both movies because they're great movies, like, by great directors. It's not that. It's because, oh, the guys like this,
It's
girls
because
like this. Yeah,
Barbenheimer is a thing. It's because Barbenheimer was a thing. That is the only thing. Barbenheimer became an event. Uh, I
yeah.
had to read and dig down more by watching interviews to properly understand the movie. I hate to sound like an asshole again, but welcome to film analysis. half of the half of the time, that's what happens.
Well, no, I mean, I think there are a lot, like, if you're educated enough and you've lived in this world enough, that because you're all grown up with movies now, right? We all have a kind of, like, expectation that when you're watching a movie, there has to be a first, second, third act. There has to be a great ending. There has to be some sort. I mean, if it's a big enough movie, people have their set pieces. Yeah, Have you
Yep.
have you ever thought that, like, there were set pieces were not a thing until, like, the 30s? Like, you didn't see that happen, like, because of like sound,
Do you
when
know?
sound movies came out.
Have you ever thought about the fact that the Great Train Robbery was the first example of a set piece?
Exactly, yeah, and that is from
Just
the
putting it
time.
out there.
And a train robbery was happening during the time that they shot a train robbery. That was a thing that used to happen back then. So, if
Yes.
even now, see, movies were set pieces only
Yeah,
before.
because
So
at the end
people
of the day,
used to go.
it was a vaudevillian pastime, right? It
Yeah,
was what it was. It was pulp,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, people grew up on, like, circus back then. Like, circus was a thing, and then eventually black and white, silent movie era came, and then they
Yep.
had set pieces there because they wanted to have, this visual appeal, like,
Buster
you-
Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, watch any
yeah,
of their movies. Half of the things were all set pieces joined together. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what it
yeah.
was.
Like, like, and then you went on to sound, and sound, it become like a drama where theater was more. It became theater was more of an influence on movies than the silent era or circus was, or vaudevillian
Hmm.
sensibilities were. Or And then you went into early cinemas, what Scorsese derogatorily calls theme park rides. Oh wow, he said that again about Marvels. I don't know. Maybe we're going back, like, we're kind of regressing back to those times.
The fact of the matter is, narrative with thematic depth started to come out only during the 40s, and that was very late.
I actually,
Only
no,
during the
I would,
30s or the 40s. 30s is by the
yeah.
time when narrative with depth started to occur.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it really, the golden age of cinema, like the 30s was when you had movies which were not just westerns, they were western with an emotional center.
Yeah.
Like The Heiress. You would have movies by Billy Wilder, who were writers first, who looked at characters, and then looked at the movie as and set pieces that the characters can be inside of. And Buster Keaton is also a great example because you kind of wanted to feel for him. You wanted to feel for Charlie Chaplin. You don't want to have a situation where they're just running along and something is happening and people are getting say, oh, how'd they do that? No one cares how they do that. Like, only the people like us, we are the minority who actually cares. Like, oh, how'd they do that? most people why is ek villain
Why is
right? It's
ek villain a conversation in the chat? What
the
the
whole chat
hell?
is just ek villain returns, ek
We
villain.
are here talking about the history of cinema, and people here are talking about ek villain. Ek villain, really?
Well, at least I'm glad that Shraddha Kapoor got her, like she got her bank because of
Yeah,
Stree 2. Yeah, I'm glad for her. I don't think a lot of people gave her good reception for Stree 1 anyway, or even a villain.
I have no idea why are they giving her good reception for Street 2 as well. She plays basically the same role that she played in Street 1. There is
I mean,
literally
that's
no
what they
difference.
required from her, yeah, and she did the job. So yeah, I think good
Yes.
enough. Yeah, from a
Yeah.
shitty movie, if you get something out, that's good enough for them. I
Uh,
think for like I think as audience members or like people who just like going to movies, I like watching movies in theaters is because I kind of want to be, like kind of forget, like you wanna like there's a great interview by Roger Ebert with Charlie Rose. He says that movies want to transport you, like you want to feel transport. You don't want to feel, you want to forget about where your car is parked, where what bill you have to pay and everything like that. You wanna be engrossed in the movie and be transported. But that doesn't happen unless you kind of make a movie that actually transports you. Everything has to work for you to be transported. If something takes you out, then your whole movie is kind of gone. So
the
you
term we are looking for here is called verisimilitude, which basically means creation of reality within a narrative. That's what happens. If you don't believe in that reality, it doesn't work. That's the whole point.
right. I mean, believability is like something that people. I mean, they say that, oh, why is this not
people
believable?
have people have also lost it. ये मतलब हर चीज में एक रिलेटिबिलिटी ढूंढना पड़ रहा है लोगों को.
Yeah.
नहीं, इतना रिलेटिबिलिटी ढूंढ के क्या करोगे?
I
लाइफ
mean,
तो अच्छा नहीं जा
I
रहा.
I don't
योर
have
लाइफ इज शिटी
I
एनीवे.
don't have cancer. I'm not dying, but I like Ikaru. I I
Yes.
yeah, I love Ikaru. I'm not a big businessman who's about to lose all of his fortune. I like
No, no,
Hayao.
but
Like,
yeah, I
but
think even for a relatability factor, like I can understand that India used to be a hard place back in the 1930s and the 1940s, but I'm pretty sure our country is not exactly a hotbed for a huge placenta like thingy in which a demon is moving around, right? Because that's not relatable, but we are
we're
transported
watching
to
it.
that
Yeah.
world.
I mean,
Yeah, we
because
are
you
watching
like
it.
it's alien. I mean, it's not the thing is that it's relatable in terms of it's something we know, and they're
Yeah,
using that against us, and that is more
yeah,
what great horror does or great storytelling does. Like,
great
if you
storytelling does. Yeah.
like you don't like, I mean, let's take a situation where oh, I don't I'm feeling like it is like injustice is happening. Most of the time movies in India were all about injustice only, because because for the most of 80s and 90s, a lot of minorities were not really spoken about, and they never had a voice, and now
Started
suddenly
in
they
the
have a voice.
70s. Started in the 70s, especially during Indira Gandhi's emergency period. Started in the
Yeah.
70s,
And
more or
now, I
less.
mean, again, we're back to that where they're kind of
Yeah.
suppressing the voice of minorities and kind of trying to like push this agenda of like, like a nationalism language, where
Yes.
uh,
Oh
where
God, we
nationalism,
are.
where the definition of nationalism has changed. It's not about like, oh, I'm
It's
proud of
now
my heritage.
jingoism. It's
Yeah.
jingoism. It's how much more
Yeah, I
nationalistic
mean,
you are.
that's another kind of story altogether. That's
Yeah.
all the that's a Varun episode of all the military movies that have come out. And now
Yes. Or if you want, you can listen to the 5 hour episode which Varun has done on the
on his
picture
podcast,
Shuru
yeah,
with Sanjeet Singh.
this is
Because
a
Varun
yeah.
is not here and Varun doesn't promote his podcast anymore. We are doing it for no good
Yeah,
reason. But anyway.
it's free
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can go back to Tumbbad lol if you want.
We did. See, look how I brought the discussion
Gen Z
back to
rank.
Tumba.
Well, the kids these days, they don't
Kids these
understand.
days, yes, they don't understand only.
They don't appreciate what they have. First off, okay.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
my day, back in my day, 2004, when schools
Back in my
they used
day,
to
20 years ago,
20
20,
years
going
ago,
on 20,
they
by
took
the
us to
way.
Iqbal. They made us watch Iqbal, okay, HPS Begumpet, okay, represent HPS Begumpet. They took us to watch Iqbal in IMAX,
We
okay.
had to watch Chan Kuli ki Man Kuli for better good sports movies.
Wow, dude,
That's the
actually
time.
great movie. What a
Yeah.
great movie actually gave. You guys don't know the kind of shit movies that we grew up with, and then the great movies that came out in the early 2000s and late
Yes.
2010s that actually revived this like love
No,
for
but
movies
dude,
again.
no, but dude, it's like the early 2000s was a lodestone, if you
Yeah,
compare it to what is happening currently now, the shit that is being produced at this point. Like it's not even a rant. Like kids these days don't know how good what they have, or
Yeah.
how good we had back in my day. It's almost true at this point. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, with the amount of movies also. I mean, there's a great comment by this great YouTuber Ragini. She does like really nice reviews. I think you might have seen her. She does very like
yes,
deadpan, very Shrija Chaturvedi
yes,
style
yes, yes,
delivery.
yes.
Like,
Oh
she,
God, किसका नाम ले लिया? But okay, okay,
good
okay.
man,
Yeah,
come on, man. Like, क्या बात कर रहे हैं? Like, the but like if you want stand-up comedy recommendations, I'm right here. uh, but yeah, so she had a comment about like, oh, there are so many movies being made. Why is it only? And she was like, oh, money laundering. That's why, because they just want to like put whatever this black money that they have, they want to just do this.
yeah, yeah. No, but also,
I'm randomly
no,
going to
but
tell
also,
her.
it's like my thing about horror movies nowadays. Again, Dhruv is going to say that I'm going to make go on a rant against A24 and Neon at this point, but it's like come on, what is this elevated horror shit now? At this point, it's like if you are going to do something about it, just go with it. Go make a world. Try to make us believe in that world. Don't go with the elevated horror nonsense half of the time. What you're doing, and nowadays it's like horror movies, quote unquote horror movies, are not horror anymore. Some of them, like
Yeah, yeah.
Dhruv ka favorite movie of this year is I Saw the TV Glow. It is called as horror. It is not horror. It is
Okay.
existential. It is an existential movie. It's not a
True,
horror movie.
true, true. Yeah, yeah, it
It's
is.
anything but a horror movie. I mean,
Yeah,
it could be termed as transformative for people who actually like that movie, because it is a
I
revelatory
actually like
movie.
that movie. It's
Yeah,
not like the best movie of the year, but it is a good movie.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would say it's not.
Again, I don't, but I understand why people like it. I'm just saying that it is not a horror movie. That's my point. It's like,
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, okay. I think yeah, there the definition of horror has changed over the years. I mean, Alien is a
Yeah, yeah.
great horror movie, but
Alien
it's
is a
more of
fantastic
it's a
horror movie.
sci-fi movie, right? Like
Yeah.
it's to me it is like the I think one of the tentpole sci-fi movies ever. It's
Oh
I
yeah,
think
100%. Yeah, yeah.
because of
Ridley Scott's masterpiece. I am saying it
oh
again.
really Blade Runner. Come
He-
on,
no, no, I don't like the original Blade Runner. I don't think it is that good. It is
really?
influential. There is a difference. It is influential. I agree. But people have made better stuff inspired by Blade Runner. Blade Runner is really not that good.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah. Have you read
Yeah.
Neuromancer?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
Yeah,
have. William
yeah, yeah,
Gibson, right?
yeah. It's yeah,
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like okay. So I feel like the like horror in general, or this kind of the genre filmmaking
Hmm.
has its own pitfalls. It's the issue is that you kind of expected you have there is expectations of having some tropes. Like I am
Yes.
there are great directors who can actually play with those tropes. Like I would say I mean, in present day, a lot of the directors, I mean, Indian directors are there. I actually like even as a trope of like thinky movies. I would say Anand Gandhi has like Ship of Thesis,
Ship of
and
Theseus. Yeah.
yeah, like that is a thinky movie, but it is kind of a play on thinky movies, which I really love about that movie. Is that like
Hmm.
all thinky movies have some sort of like like, oh, there is going to be like a voiceover, there's going to be a narrator, there's going to be a very deep conversation happening about two people. Like one of the prime examples of this was Photograph, which I don't like at all. I don't like that movie at all.
Which one?
I Photograph, Lunchbox
Array,
ka director.
is that the Lunchbox director ka next
Yeah,
movie, right?
yeah.
I
I
don't.
don't like that
Yeah.
movie at all. It's because it's way too thinky for me. I feel like it doesn't click with maybe it clicks with a lot of people because there is a lot being said, and with very less dialogue, and there's a lot of this melancholy that's there in that movie, which was there in Lunchbox also. But for me, Lunchbox works better is because it's not as thinky. Is that it's not trying to make you think about all the um
Yeah.
tropes that will be in a thinky movie. Same with Tumbbad. Like Tumbbad kind of
Yeah,
is
it's proper genre. Yeah, yeah. It,
it's a
it is
genre
absolutely
it's a
proper
genre
genre.
movie, and the tropes are they ever tick on all the tropes. There is a final sequence between the ghost. There is a big showdown between the ghost and
There's a
the
big down. Yeah.
and the main character, and the main character has like a redemption kind of arc.
There is a quote unquote final girl also, in a way, because the kid actually manages to defeat the monster. There is a quote unquote final girl
Yeah,
somewhat.
and there is. I mean, I love the way that the the kid is like so cocky. Like the
Yeah,
kid
yeah,
is really trying to, like, push his limits of what he can achieve. And
yeah,
the Ranjini Chakrabarti character is, he's like kind of like trying to, like, get her, or like make her the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
prize. And that is something that I really caught on. But as a genre movie, I mean, they don't have there is something of a subversion that happens, is that the characters are using the ghost, they are taking advantage of the ghost. And that doesn't happen in a lot of horror movies, at least is what I remember.
Mm.
And
Somewhere Sanjeet, who is a massive Ramsey Brothers fan, suddenly is like, एक second, I remember this movie. You know, वैसे तब भी करते थे ये लोग, something of
oh,
that sort. Yeah, yeah. Went to Lou
now
for a minute.
went to Lou for a few minutes and came back. Now lunchbox discussion is going on. I know, sorry. So, I mean, Dhruv is not here, honestly.
Correct
Correct
me
me
if
if
I'm.
I'm wrong. There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
think we
stuff
talked about this. We
in
talked
his.
about this.
Yeah,
India's
we talked
independent
about this. Like,
patriarchy, caste. Yeah, caste also. Caste
yeah,
heavily. Caste is heavily
yeah.
implied. Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, in the second act you have the transition going from, I mean, the independence struggle is started, and
Yeah.
15
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
later, and
Exactly.
then after that, again another for 14 years later, you have an
Immediately
independent
post him.
India.
Yeah. Yeah. Immediately post independence. I think independence
Yeah,
just happened. So yeah. Yeah. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
And they have
Because
a
independence just
discussion
happened,
about.
the zamindari ritual or the feudalism is removed because the government is now trying to make everything centralized. So it's
Right.
like his donation was Vinayak's, that is now becoming useless. So now
Yeah,
he has to bring money for his own because he needs to survive now. That's
yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
is. Because yeah,
And everything that he has, I mean, all the gold that he has, all the money that he has, if he even makes it, he has to pay taxes now. So in the
yeah, he
beginning
has
there
to
was a
pay
whole
taxes now.
the Mughals are taxing us too much. Now it's back to the government is taxing us. and
Yeah.
and now, I mean, they will eventually. So they're also going to Hadopofy they're going to seize the property and then make a village around it. So
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
another thing that he has to fight. So these are all the times that are actually trying to force him into acting. And
Mhm.
that's where the setting matters so much, is that, like, the
Yeah,
setting
the
actually
milieu
does something.
matters. The
Yeah,
milieu matters a lot.
the milieu does matter. Yeah. And a lot of this Hadapofai, thank you.
Yeah.
There is a lot of.
I'm very used to this, bending and breaking of words to form new words. I'm very used to listening to this sort of stuff. Believe me. So yeah,
I mean,
I'm
there's I've seen a lot of movies, like especially genre movies, where they have a setting to make it just look cool, but it doesn't really do
yes.
anything. I mean, there's nothing that the characters are being affected by being in that setting. And in
In a
this movie,
violent
the
nature, in a
rain.
violent nature, in a violent
Oh
nature,
yeah, and
there
a
is a
violent.
movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no use of being in a city.
The only reason why they are in a forest is because we are making a Friday the 13th
Could have
March.
been.
That's it.
It
Could
could
have
have
been
been in
anywhere.
a city. Nothing would have
Nothing
changed.
would have
Honestly,
changed.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really like movies like, I mean, the like of course, like Cabin in the Woods. Like I like movies like that where, like, a setting kind of like gets subverted itself. But that,
Yeah.
of course, doesn't happen here. Here it's more of like, you kind of stay with the setting, you get out of it, you kind of see its effect on you, and then you have to go back to it again and again. And that's what's actually, the fact that you're going back to it is actually making you worse. And it's almost
Yes.
like this cancer that's actually like killing you slowly. And
Mm.
in the end, his greed kills him anyway. But it's not his greed kills him. He decides on his own intentions, of saving his son, that he's able to actually redeem himself. So that's
Yeah.
something I really like. I mean, that's something that stuck with me. But they could have gone on
It's
into a
showing
very bad route.
it's showing a quote unquote moralistic end without being preachy about it,
Yeah,
without being overtly moralistic about it, which is good.
yeah.
Yeah, well, like Brahma Yugam is very inspired by Tumbbad to the extent that the imp in Brahma Yugam. If anybody hasn't seen Brahma Yugam, I'm sorry to spoil it somewhat, but imp in Brahma Yugam, which is at the end, that is partly inspired by Hastar and partly inspired by Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z. If anybody doesn't know what Majin Buu looks
My
like from
God,
Dragon Ball
dude.
Z,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Wow.
not even Majin Buu, Kid Buu. If somebody doesn't know what Kid Buu looks like, just Google Kid Buu.
You
Yeah,
alienated everyone.
yeah, yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, I used to hate Dragon Ball Z. My brother loved it, so that's why I used to forcefully watch it.
That was our generation, nah? Like
Yeah,
we watched DBZ and Pokemon that used to come
and
out. Yeah.
Beyblade,
So
dude. Come on,
and
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Beyblade, yeah.
Beyblade, Duel Masters. I had like a whole Duel
Duel
Master.
Masters was after our time. Duel Masters was after our
Really,
time.
was it? I saw the first season and then like
I
bought a
think
box of
I think
packs.
it was I think it was DBZ. Then we had Pokemon. Then we had
Yeah,
Digimon. Then we had Beyblade. We
Digimon.
had
Oh
four.
yeah.
Digimon
Oh
was
man,
there in a way.
Digimon was
Yeah,
awesome. I really loved it.
yeah, yeah.
And
Then we
Transformers, the
had a
show,
s-
of
they,
course.
yeah. Then we had a section of Animax. Animax was
Yeah,
available during a couple of years.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
another time. Again, we are alienating the audience entirely, but
More people alienated. Oh man.
yeah.
And but yeah, I'm always I'll always be a fan of good horror movies. And good movies in general, dude. Like there's a
Good
huge.
movies in general, we are always fans of. I
I
mean,
mean,
come on.
I'll watch a trashy movie. Honestly, even I like Equivalent. I actually
Like
like Equivalent. There
October
is nothing wrong
11th,
with that movie.
October 11th, there is a movie coming out called Azrael, which is basically like a dystopian horror movie. It stars Samara Weaving in it. Uh,
Okay,
I have seen that movie. That movie is a very nifty little movie. It kind of has some world building issues, but it's a
hmm,
very nifty little horror movie. It's written by the guy who has written The Guest.
oh, okay,
So
okay. I like
if
that movie.
anybody has, yeah, I also like that movie. So it's
Yeah,
like if anybody likes The Guest, you might enjoy this. This movie
okay,
is fun.
okay.
Yeah, it's a very
I've
nifty
heard
little
the
movie.
James McAvoy, the new James McAvoy
The Speak
thriller.
No Evil remake. Yeah,
No,
I've heard
yeah,
that it is good.
that's pretty good
Yeah,
too. A fan of good
yeah.
movies. Kid 2024. Thanks so
QID
much.
QID is good at stating the obvious. Do you know why?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people have forgotten to understand the obvious. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
people kind of ignore that this is a simple gig, really. There's a you watch a movie, someone has already made a movie for you. It's like how Ian McKellen explains acting to Ricky Gervais in Extras.
Yeah.
He explains acting like Ricky Gervais is an extra. He comes to Ian McKellen in an audition. He tells him, "Hey man,
Yeah.
how do you do this whole thing like of acting?" You say, "You know what? Like the director comes, he tells you what to do, and then you
Yeah.
do it, and then there's a writer, he'll give you a script and then you read it, and that you just say whatever's there in the script, and that's it. That's mostly it, bro." Like, and he's like, "I am
It's
some
another
surreal,
similar
surreal,
thing happens
surreal."
in yeah, another similar thing happens during the shooting of Marathon Man. Like when Dustin Hoffman is very much like he's going method, and can't understand how to get into the character. And Laurence Olivier, I think, says to him, "My dear boy, try acting."
Yeah.
That was his reaction.
Yeah, I mean, oh, the chat is filled with like great recommendations. There's Jigra, there's Seance, great
Jigra
movie.
is not a great recommendation. I again reiterate, Wasanwala is a hack. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Wow. Oh my God. You're gonna get into trouble. I think like the defamation cases are headed towards you, bro. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, because 207 subscribers is a lot of
a lot of like
danger
just
to these people. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
great recommendation is Badass Ravi Kumar.
Arey, Himesh Reshammiya ka movie,
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Exposes sequel, not even
Oh,
sequel. He's
really?
making the
Okay.
Expose universe.
Okay. I think I would love to see Jigra and Control. I'm a huge fan of Vikramaditya Motwane. I mean I still feel um what is that movie? The
Which movie?
superhero.
Bhavesh
Voyages.
Joshi or Udan?
Okay. I feel that
Yeah.
that should have gotten a sequel. I really there was a missed opportunity. That would have been a great series. Like I would have totally imagined like him like growing into different cities, like Mumbai as like a whole.
Can we recast Harshvardhan Kapoor, though, please?
No, dude, like he
Just
was great. I would like, yeah, he was really good in that. I wouldn't, yeah, I didn't have any problem with him. I don't have any other, I have never seen any other movie of his. I have not seen, have you seen
that's
that?
why.
Have you,
That's why.
he's there in that,
I have seen Thar. I
Thar.
don't like
Okay,
that
yeah,
movie.
I have not seen Thar. Is
I
it
have
any
also
good?
seen AK versus AK, which
AK
was
was his, AK
fine.
was, yeah, he was himself, right? So it
Yeah, he
doesn't,
was himself. Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of,
Exactly. Exactly. Also, the Man United fandom. HBK and Man United, that fandom is there.
okay.
Na?
I had no
Yeah.
idea that he was a United fan.
He's a
Sanjay
massive
is happy.
United fan. He goes
Okay.
on Twitter rants. He's suspiciously quiet, though. What happened? Didn't the Man United get like lambasted by Tottenham yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I think so.
Okay,
Anyway,
I will sports. Sports. Yeah,
yeah,
sports. Yeah, I will
yeah,
say
sports.
Magnus Carlsen has really slowed down. I mean, I would have loved Fabiano Caruana to have won the won the FIDE World Cup, but no. And what is this happening? Nakamura is not that great actually, but yeah,
Where are you
good
going
athlete,
with
yes,
this?
I would say. Yeah, that's all I can talk about.
So Dhruv would be happy to know, and that I'm going to do the same job I had with Deadpool and Wolverine. That is, I'm going to be writing an explainer for Joker 2. If the movie has anything worth explaining, I highly
Okay,
doubt. I highly
I'm
doubt.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited about watching Joker actually because it's not about like not excited as in like I'm huge fan of comic book movies or I'm a huge fan of Todd Phillips at all. It's just that like I like Lady Gaga. I actually watched yeah, I don't know, like, I just like her singing. That's it. If she sings in the movie, I'll be very happy.
I think she sings in the movie.
Okay, it is a musical, is what I've heard. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm going to
yeah,
hate that movie so much. I'm not even kidding.
yeah.
It's like
She's the
that
camp. I
is
don't
one.
know. It was Freddie Mercury. He stole her whole bit from Freddie Mercury. It was
Yeah.
also there are other comeback ones. There is also like if you want Prince, you gotta check out Prince. You gotta check out the techno highlights of the 1980s. You have to look at Pixies. You
The
listen
Rocky Horror Picture Show,
to Rocky
if I'm
Horror
not
Picture
mistaken.
Show. Oh my god, yeah. You can watch Spinal Tap. Like
This
what?
is Spinal Tap, amazing mockumentary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that is
just
also
watch
a
that.
lot of camp in it. Yeah. If you want,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I recently watched. Have you watched One from the Heart? Coppola.
No, I haven't. I need to see that.
It's
Yeah.
actually great, but in the camp sense, like there's a lot of campy stuff in it. Yeah,
Late era cop. I mean, from the greatness era Coppola, I have to move forward. I
the
haven't
crisis
seen
era.
his.
I would call it
Yeah,
from.
yeah. Crisis era. Yeah, I have to see his crisis era movies.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of obligation. Mankey. We're discussing that.
Obligation man ke. There should be
Okay,
another A double A.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking Mank. Oh, are we talking about David Fincher's dud? Uh,
Please let us not. Please let us not.
This
Like,
is where I'm pulling my Gen Z card. Lady Gaga is modern camp. I'm watching Rocky Horror tonight. Don't at me. Okay,
mm,
that's fine actually. Rocky Horror is like way beyond even our generation. Honestly, we
Rocky
have
Horror
missed.
Picture Show is beyond our criticism also. That has become so much like a foundational text. हम criticize भी
Yeah.
नहीं कर सकते
It's
उस
like
movie के बारे में.
2001. Talking about 2001, I can't like. It's like
Yeah. You
it's part
can't
of
say
our
anything about it.
everything around me. I'm watching something on a screen, and that's
Uh,
2001.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
same with Rocky Horror Show. Rocky Horror Show. If you've seen any kind of musical which has like swinging, like that all comes
Yeah,
to
that's
Rocky
Rocky
Horror.
Horror Picture Show. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all a
100%.
reference to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Youth
this
without
person's
you.
youth without you was sublime junk. Wow, I've like this is so beyond me. I have no like I need to go get a degree in in film criticism to be able to understand this statement. Sublime schmaltz. Suddenly, Dhruv has turned Jewish.
Suddenly,
Uh,
Dhruv has started showing his film school credentials.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
we are. I am only masters in aerospace. Sorry,
Yeah.
there is.
And I am forcefully trying to make my amateur work into professional work. That's what is going on at this point. It's like,
Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Only that makes
The
people
only
call me a fake gay is the fact that I'm not a big Silence of the Lambs fan. Okay, well, you don't have to be Buffalo Bill to be to be you really
wow.
don't. Honestly, you don't have to look in the mirror and say I'd fuck me. Like, you don't have to do that. It's okay. We accept you as you are. Please don't become Buffalo Bill. Please promise.
Please do
Comment
not.
in the comment. Promise in the comments, please, that you will not turn into Buffalo Bill.
Hmm. That voice cadence though
Oh
with
man, I
actors would go.
really
Yeah.
loved. Oh my, I and to imagine that that dude was there in Monk. He was
He
the
was.
chief
Yes.
in Monk.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. He
I
was.
saw
He
him. I was
was.
like, why do I recognize him when I was a kid? And I was like, oh my god, this is from my nightmares. I would say Grey actually. If you want to watch something that's a great LGBTQ movie, would be the Velvet Underground.
The
Have you seen
documentary.
that? No,
The
it's
documentary. Todd
Todd Haynes.
Haynes.
Yeah, Todd Haynes
Todd
documentary.
Haynes.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
love that documentary. Amazing
Great.
documentary. Great
Yeah,
documentary. Yeah,
yeah. That
amazing one.
whole scene, it's lovely. I really love the way he shows this. Todd Haynes, most of his movies are really good about the LGBTQ community. I would say even
Folk
like
horror movies. Folk horror movies.
folk
Somebody
horror.
wanted us.
I would, yeah. Let's
Uh,
do a watch list of folk horror movies. I would say.
the
I mean, I
Wicker
would.
Man. The
Yeah,
Wicker Man. I
The
mean, that
Wicker
is
Man is
the
great. Yeah,
foundational text. Wicker Man.
yeah. I would say
Then we have.
maybe as a TV show, recent times, I really liked Lovecraft Country. It was brilliant. I really loved it. Yeah, and
If you don't have a problem watching Jonathan Majors on screen, please watch Lovecraft Country.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Trigger warning. Yeah, The Wicker Man.
yeah,
Yeah, big
yeah.
letters. I would
Big
say
letters.
even
I think a Dan Stevens starrer. There is a Dan Stevens starrer called Apostle, which is very good.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
would say even I would, yeah, The Witch is really good. I really like The
The
Witch a
Witch is
lot.
a good folk horror. Yeah,
Yeah, and
made by Dhruv's favorite director, Robert Eggers.
yeah,
Yes.
okay. And I would say another on one more, there's a bunch of John Waters films. Yeah, back to yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Camp movies. Yes.
I would say like a starter John Waters film. I watch only two though. I don't know. I would say
John Waters. Yeah. I
I
haven't
really
seen
like.
any John Waters
Have
though.
you seen
That's the
Serial
thing.
Mom? That's the second one. I've seen Crybaby and Serial
No,
Mom.
no,
I would say Crybaby is
no,
a
no. I
great
haven't.
movie. I really like Crybaby a lot.
Okay.
The Northman, oh my god. I remember Northman because the night I saw Northman, I got into an accident. Like I got T-boned by another
Listen,
car.
Northman, I like. Okay, I don't know what's with the
It's
hatred
an
of the movie. I
it's an
have no
okay movie.
idea.
I wouldn't say
I like that
okay.
movie. I have no idea what's with the hatred for that movie. It's a
Yeah.
good
I,
movie.
another one that I really like is not a folk horror, maybe a folk thriller would be Underground Railroad. Have you seen that? The TV
सर वो
series?
थ्रिलर नहीं है वो हिस्ट्री है
Yeah,
वो
it is
थ्रिलर
historic.
नहीं है वो
Yeah,
हिस्ट्री है
but it is scary in some situations, I would say.
yeah 100%.
Yeah.
uh
And
I would like to recommend this, but Dhruv hates it, so of course I'm recommending this. Midsommar, folk horror.
Midsommar, yeah, Midsommar is another folk horror, very daytime horror, one of the few
Very
sunny
daytime horror.
horror, as
Yeah,
who was saying. Yeah,
yeah.
I would say great movie. Good.
There is a medieval horror. There is a medieval horror movie about the plague, which is called Black Death. Black Death is fantastic. Watch Black Death. It is like horrifying. Directed by
Black
Christopher Smith. It's a 2010 movie.
Okay, I should
Yeah.
watch this
It's
Black
about a play. It's about plague is decimating medieval Europe. It's about a necromancer who leads the village and is able to raise the dead. And the night fights them basically. It's yeah.
Oh, I mean, I have first off no slander against Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's a great movie. The intro to that movie is amazing. It is shot as if it was like a movie shot in the silent era. The practical
Hmm.
effects in that are amazing. The suit in that is incredible. The red suit. The makeup is incredible. Gary Oldman is just untouchable in that. And I would say Nosferatu, I'm very excited about. The original one is insanely good.
Original one is insanely for a 1922 movie. Insanely good.
Yeah.
Uh, Modern day folk horror. Candyman. Has anybody seen the
Candyman, okay,
original
yeah.
Candyman?
I've heard good things about that. Yes.
Original
Not seen
Candyman
that.
is very good. I
Yeah.
think I like the new reboot as well. It's not bad.
Okay.
Then we have a Na Hongjin movie, which Na Hongjin, the director of The Chaser,
Yeah.
a.k.a. the original Murder 2. Na Hongjin's movie, The Wailing.
The original murder too. That's it.
Yeah, The
Yes.
Wailing, great
The
folk
Wailing,
horror.
amazing
Yeah,
movie. Amazing movie.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
the new one that's a PSA Black Death. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What else? What else? Is Oni Baba folk horror? It is very Japanese. I don't know whether it is folk horror or not. It is very Japanese. It is very
Mm.
scary. Really
Okay.
love that movie, but I don't
Okay.
know whether it is folk horror or not. Put it in. I think it's a great
Yeah.
movie. Just
Onibaba.
put it in.
Yeah.
Oni Baba. Speaking of Oni Baba, because we're in Japan, Kwaidan
Okay.
Kobayashi. Kwaidan.
Okay. Okay. I
Kwaidan
wouldn't
is really
put
good.
that as a folk horror movie though.
It's a folk story. It's
Folk story,
basically
I would say. Yeah.
but the middle is pretty horror. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Middle is pretty much horror only.
Koroniku.
Uh,
That's another one.
yeah. Kuroneko, yeah, yeah. Kuroneko I haven't seen. I'm trying to remember which one I have seen. Uh, I
Okay.
don't.
I
I
think
can't remember.
I'm out because
There is
I've
an
seen as
A24.
many
There is
movies.
an A24 movie called Lamb. Has anybody seen Lamb?
No, I have not.
There
I've
is an
heard good things
A24
about
movie. It's not very quote unquote good, but it has great visuals. So
that. Okay.
it's not bad. It's
I've
decent.
seen Pig. Pig is one I've seen.
Yeah. Pig is not horror though. Pig
It's
is
not
thriller.
horror. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Is Black Sunday folk horror? I don't think so.
Black Sunday is not folk horror, but it's a great movie.
Yeah,
It's
Mario Bawas. Yeah.
yes.
Hmm. Black
In that
Sunday is
case, I
not
would
folk
say
horror.
yeah. Like a lot of
Uh,
the movies that have come out in Korea also, I would say maybe a Korean movie. I should suggest
The original folk horror is Haksan, of course. Haksan. If anybody hasn't seen
Haksan.
Haksan, please watch Haksan. The original folk horror, yes.
Okay.
I think it is the 1922 Benjamin Christensen film. It's fantastic. It's horrifying. Haksan. Yeah.
Oh,
Also Husera, the bone woman. That is another great that is
okay.
another great, horror movie folk horror. I think that's quite a lot.
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see in the lists, online list, there is the Mimic, which came out in 2017. It's a Hajang
It is
movie, and it's inspired by the Zhangsan tiger. So that's a
okay.
great
This
movie.
is Korean.
Yeah, it's
This is
Korean.
Korean.
But I've
We
not
have
seen some
Exuma.
movies. My God, there's so many movies. Yeah.
We have Exuma, which is a modern day. I don't know whether you can call it folk horror. It's more zombie horror.
Okay.
But yeah,
I think any Hindi movies that really come to mind?
Hindi folk horror. I mean, to be fair to Maddock and their movies which are being released nowadays, all of
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
folk horror only.
Hedia, yeah, Pari.
Beria, Stree, Munjia, all of those are
Yeah,
folk horror.
Bulbul, I would say is
Bulbul is folk horror. I don't like that
yeah,
movie that much, but it is folk horror. So yeah,
yeah. And there's a
Bulbul
very
is folk
old
horror.
movie that's there in the suggestions is Mehel, which is a very early movie,
Early
early
movie, yeah, 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 yeah.
1949 is when it came out, and it's
Hmm.
directed by Kamal Amrohi. So I
Hmm.
have a feeling Sanjeet will know this movie.
Yeah. The Assamese
Assamese.
movies. Uh which one?
Um,
Kotha Nodi. I think Kotha Nodi works. I think it's a horror movie, though I'm not too sure about it.
okay.
But yeah, I think that's
Amis.
enough.
Amis.
I'm
Is that
exhausted.
is that
Amis is not folk horror, sir. Amis is cannibalism made into a gourmet dish. That's not folk
okay?
horror.
Okay. Well, yeah, I didn't know that's also a menu menu item I can order for.
If anybody hasn't seen Amis, please do. It's very weird. It's cannibal romance horror movie, something of that sort. Yeah,
Okay,
very weird.
that's
Yeah,
good. Well, that's a nice list. I think it's very
yeah.
Kathanodi. I think okay,
Kotha Nodi, yes.
Kathanodi.
Kotha
Okay.
Nodi. Yeah.
Yep. I
Yep.
think yeah, I'm more and more getting out of my depth. I
Yeah.
think, there's-
I think we are done. I think
yeah, I think
1
we're
hour
done.
30 minutes is more than
Yeah,
enough
I
at
think
this
we
point. This
just hit
segment.
90 minutes. I think there's uh
That's the appropriate time for any movie. That's the appropriate runtime for any movie. That should be the
yes.
appropriate runtime for any live stream.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree completely. And a
Yeah.
great final note by Chris Patrick is cannibalism made into a comedy dish. Literally, is an NBC's Hannibal, which I totally agree with.
I
Yeah,
still can't I still can't believe that NBC, a network television, actually greenlit that goddamn show because that show is terrifying.
beautiful. I love the cinematography in that. I love
Yeah.
the way they've shot the food. I
Oh
think
yeah.
gourmet cooking can really learn from Hannibal.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Next episode of Chef's Table, I want that. I want more close-up shots of blood.
Yes.
All right, but it was a great talk, and I feel like everyone has a lot of movies to watch. Good homework. We will do a quiz next time. Everyone will be asked about Qui-Gon Kanoni Baba. Everyone has
Yep.
to watch Midsummer twice. Everyone has to watch
Midsommar
it.
twice, especially the director's cut, 3 hours long. Please
Yes,
watch.
please
Yes.
watch that. It has more shots of whiteout. Um,
Yes.
Actually, it has more shots of like the inside of the
It has
mess hall.
more shots of the scenery. It is more
Yeah,
slow. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I would highly,
No,
highly.
no, 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 Devara. I have seen Devara. I am not talking about that movie. That movie is this
Now
close
that
away
you've
from
said that,
hot
we are
garbage.
going to do it. Next
No,
episode
we
is
are not.
with
We are
Amartya
not.
doing a 1 hour long talk. He's going to
That
do
movie
extempore.
hasn't got that movie hasn't got enough material to talk about for 15 minutes. I'm
Okay,
sorry. It
okay.
doesn't.
Poor NTR Junior. He's like he's crying with his notes. He's like, oh man, Amartya is like,
Legitimately, Thalapati Vijay's goat is better than Devara. I believe so.
wow.
Legitimately. Like,
Okay,
that
damn.
movie was so bad.
Yeah. Have you
Anyway.
seen Dangal?
No, I haven't, because there is a good print online. I'm going to be very
Okay.
frank. There is a
Whoa, whoa,
good
whoa,
print
whoa, whoa,
online, but
whoa,
there is
whoa.
no
That's not
subs.
legal, huh?
There
We
is
don't
no
allow that.
subs. Yeah,
Okay,
there are no
with
subs, which
subs.
is
Okay,
why.
that's good.
Yeah, I need subs. Yeah, there are no subs.
Yeah, I also need subs. I'm very hungry. I need subsidy.
Yeah. Yes.
I, I cannot tell. I cannot tell what Saif Ali Khan is on anymore. I don't know, man. It's mostly acid. Like, it's, it's like it's mostly either shrooms. I know shrooms would make you a little more empathetic.
He has been on shrooms since Kalakandi at this point.
Yeah, Kalakandi is actually acid. He does take acid in that. It's a
Yeah.
very inaccurate representation of driving on acid. I can tell you, it's not fun driving on acid. In lack to
Listen, Saif Ali Khan is not on anything. Ever since Bobby Deol became famous after working on Animal with a Telugu director,
yeah,
each of these actors have realized that we need to work with South directors, because that is how we are going to get a massive fan base. That's it. That is the entire
yeah.
reason why Sanjay Dutt has got a new career now. That is the entire reason why Saif Ali Khan is doing all these movies. Otherwise, there is no reason.
I mean, yeah, you got to stay relevant somehow, and I don't blame them. I mean, if there are a lot of people who watch these movies, I mean, you go to here in like in US and all, you go to a theater, you'll see Telugu movies running side by side by English movies,
Yeah.
and there's a huge demand for Telugu movies. And to be honest, there's a lot of people who kind of underestimate Telugu movies because of this whole like masala factor to it. I love South movies. I don't have any problem with
Sir, you are
watching
from there.
theater. I know, but first,
You
okay,
are
I can't say I'm
from
from the
there.
South only by family. I was born in Bhopal. Okay, like, and brought up in Hyderabad. Okay, so Hyderabad is definitely iffy in terms of South. So I would say like there's a lot to be watched in those in South Indian movies, especially from Kerala, because that's like I would say the highest quality of movies from the South come from Malayalam movies, and then they like kind of dwindle and water and dilute down through Tamil and then
Yeah,
go
yeah.
down to
Do not even, yeah,
Telugu.
yeah. Do not even go upwards. Do not even come to Bengal. Bengal में कोई quality नहीं है. Half of the shit is mark. कोई quality नहीं है in Bengal में.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
don't
yeah.
even come there. Yeah.
I mean, that would be like, come on, like, imagine the history of the Bengali movies, where it was and
सर
where it is now.
सर वो इमेजिन ही कर रहे हैं हम अभी तक. इमेजिन द हिस्ट्री. हम हिस्ट्री में ही
Yeah,
जी रहे हैं. प्रेजेंट का कुछ हो
yeah,
नहीं रहा है. छोड़ो.
yeah.
वो इमेजिन द हिस्ट्री. वो
And
रे का हिस्ट्री लेके ये लोग जी रहे हैं अभी तक. Now the shift has gone to Sen at this point, not Ray. Now it is Sen. Couple
oh,
of years later, it will be Gotok, because God forbid we make anything new. Anyway,
okay.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, Chris Patrick is now annoyed by us.
That
Just
is
as
the
usual,
Lavatskull
as usual.
2.0.
Yeah, Gen Z
Lavatskull
people
2.0
always
dialogue.
no attention span only. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Gen Z people have such low attention span.
yeah,
क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग?
yeah, kya
Anyway,
kar rahe ho log? Huh?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
man. All right, I think we can call it.
yeah,
Everyone have a nice day. Be safe. Be good to each other. Have water
yeah.
every day.
Also all the customary stuff. Also all the customary stuff. Please like, share,
Please like us.
subscribe.
Please like us.
Yeah.
We need
Please
validation.
like us. We need
Yeah, we
validation.
need. I mean, come on.
We
Our
need
parents didn't like
validation.
us. They just said, "Ki tum kya kar apne life ke sath?" And
Exactly. See,
yeah, so please like us,
follow
subscribe
us on
us.
Spotify. Follow us on
Yeah.
Spotify. Listen to
Follow us
our
on
listen
Spotify,
to us
follow us on
talking.
Letterboxd, read
Yeah.
all the Amartya's reviews. he has, let's
Please don't
congratulate
read my reviews.
Amartya for
Please don't
2000
read my
movies
reviews.
this year. This year he has watched 2000 movies. Please congratulate him, give him some tissue paper so that
Technically, I think I'm 30 movies away from catching 3,000. So it's like, okay.
wow, okay. God,
Yes.
okay. So please, please follow him,
Basically
follow his
proving I don't
journey
have a life,
into
but that's
madness.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Khatam, everyone, go back home, go back to your lives.
Go back to your lives. Why are you
Do
still sticking
better.
around here?
Help
Go back to
someone
your
today.
lives.
Donate
Yeah.
to someone. Or like just like cook for someone. That's the best. Therapies. Go to therapy. Everyone, I would highly suggest, go to therapy for 1 hour and then regret paying that person money for
Regret paying
saying
that
something would have said.
person money for saying very obvious stuff which you
Oh,
haven't thought about for the last 20 years.
yeah, you could have just said this to your friend, and your friend could have been "Kya chutiya hai tu?" And then you would have been
Yeah.
fine. And but now you paid someone, so now you feel like, oh, it's official. I can write it down. So please go
I
to
can write it.
therapy. It is very
That's a
helpful. I would
legitimate
suggest
thing, by
everyone.
the way. At this point, people calculate कि therapy का effect कैसा हो रहा है depending on what therapist is actually advising them. That is how they evaluate whether value for money हो रहा
There are
है.
different types of therapy, which I'm very fascinated by. There's like trauma therapy, there's talk therapy, there is narrative therapy, which is like, oh, you have created a narrative about yourself in your life, which
Yeah.
everyone does, of course, and then you have to talk about it. And that's very important. So you have to let it out. I am, no jokes about everyone go to therapy. Everyone go to your doctor, get your prostate checked, get everything, get everything checked.
Okay,
Be
we are
healthy.
going way too far now.
Yeah,
Let's go, man.
no.
Let's go. Let's
Okay,
go. Khatam,
let's
khatam,
go.
khatam, khatam.
Let's go back down. Khatam. Bye.
Khatam, khatam. Somebody
End.
stop the
Where do I
live.
end this? Like, how do I end this? It's like I'm feeling like that grandmother. मुझे खत्म करो. मुझे please put fire on me. End this stream. Bye.
Yeah. Where is that live button ka stop?